This time, I'm going to talk a little bit about a patch that just dropped for Forza 6. A brand new content update, and there's a lot to it. It's pretty big and fixes some really good issues, or bad issues, however you want to put that, but some really good fixes to some issues that have been a big problem to the game. So what I want to do today is just go over what those fixes are and my thoughts on them, and how I think this is going to be a much better game because of them going forward. Not that it was a bad game to start with, but there were certainly some things that were game impacting in there. So anyways, let's get into it here. So first thing is cars. There are several car fixes in here. So a lot of people notice sound issues with the 2016 Ford Shelby GT350. That has now been fixed. I haven't went in and verified that does now indeed sound the way that it's supposed to sound, but it has been noted that sound, as well as now all the V8 supercars in the game now have the correct sound. So some of them had different sounds. I'd done a little bit, so it wasn't something I noticed a huge difference. You know, I didn't go into each engine and check them, but that's a good fix there. Improve the cockpit view. So for those of you that drive in the cockpit view, some of them were off, and it's like you're sitting in the back seat or you're off to the side, but they were off, and that's been fixed in several of the cars, including the Hellcat, the Gallardo, the Cuda, the Escort RS 1600, and it says among others, so there must be others in there that have been addressed. So hopefully that's fixed that issue for those of you that drive in the cockpit view. That'll be good. This is the big one. So this to me is worth the price of admission all by itself, and they have introduced a fix for the all-wheel drivetrain swaps that were happening in the lower classes with cars like the Mini and the Fiat and the RX3. So that has been fixed. So they were able to perform beyond their PI classification. It doesn't say specifically what that fix was. I'm assuming it's just PI values. I didn't ever build one. I stayed away from them. I didn't want to, go out there and exploit that, glitch that was out there. So I never built one. So I don't know, how much that, if somebody can provide some clarification on what, how much PI. I'm assuming they just changed the PI system so that it is more in line with the performance that's supposed to be within a specific class. So also with that fix, they're going to be performing a leaderboard wipe of all leaderboard times set with a car that used a drivetrain swap. And I'm assuming that's any drivetrain swap, not just the all-wheel drive. It says a drivetrain swap, so we'll just have to see. That is supposed to happen sometime today, but it has not, and today being 10/6. As of right now, it hasn't happened yet. I'm sure that's still to be coming, but I can still see those cars all over the leaderboard, so I'm assuming it hasn't happened just yet. But that's really, really good. Also, those cars that were previously banned in multiplayer are now going to be allowed back in, but I'm sure there's going to have to be some rebuilds, rework to make those cars fit the classes that you want to drive them in. So to me, that's the very biggest thing in this. It basically made it so I didn't really want to play anything below B class, and I'd really love to start in E or D and kind of work my way up, building cars, multiplayer racing, I kind of work that way. Start at the bottom, work up through there. That's just the way I like to do it. It's the way I like to make the videos and do things like that. Now I'm going to be able to get to it. So at this point, you can start to expect some more videos starting in some of those lower classes. I won't be exclusive to the lower classes. We'll still want to do some cars in other classes as well. Let's go over a couple more of the updates. There's some track updates. Removed an invisible dip that was appearing in the drift loop section of the track. So I don't know that I recall hitting that or having problems on Road Atlanta, but that's a fix there. On Monza, they fixed a bug that allowed players to gain an unfair advantage in the Ascari chicane. And then on Top Gear, corrected several areas that were incorrectly dirtying players' lap time. So that's good. Getting some track fixes. There's some, I'll quickly go through these. There was an issue with drivatars and some of them pulling away, as well as, it looks like they're still investigating that one. Cars are getting way out front. There was also an issue where drivatars were not taking damage when simulated damage was turned on. So that was an issue, and it's good that that's been cleaned up. Livery tune and import, a few different things that they had some issues with liveries and characters like lowercase a not importing correctly. Tunes, save tunes could not be applied unless it was done immediately after it was downloaded. So now it sounds like that's been resolved, and addressed an issue where downloaded tunes were missing front suspension settings. So that's interesting. I don't know if I ever noticed that. I wonder if should go look at that on some things. I've downloaded a few tunes, but I don't know how I would know unless it was my own tune that I downloaded and noticed that. So one achievement, world travel achievement, which should now work as expected. I remember seeing a couple of posts in the forums about that. Some pitting and rewind stuff. Fix an issue where only a maximum of 2 AI cars could enter the pit at any given time. Pitting will now fix headlight damage. And fix an issue with rewind where players could not rewind when AI cars were in the pits. Well, that's interesting. Did not know that existed. I haven't played a lot like endurance races that that I've needed a pit. I haven't gotten that far in the single player yet. Mods. So I did some fixes with mods. So anytime you use a boost or a mod in career or free play, it's now going to dirty a lap, and I would expect that it should. Fix an issue where crew mods modifiers would only work on the unique track specified on the car. Now crew mod modifiers will work as intended. Fix another issue where players would get the same exact mod upon starting a game with the new profile. That's interesting. Power related mods now applying correctly. Mount additional power to all cars, and fix an issue with the cockpit camera no HUD mod whereby HUD would reappear after doing a few practice laps. So several things with mods, and again, that's not something I've used as I haven't done much single player. And multiplayer, there's some interesting ones in here. So better league report resulting. So did I say that right? How about result reporting after each race? So points earned displayed and access to league leaderboards in the lobby. So that's pretty cool. Added an ability to order the grid by previous best lap in multiplayer. And this change will be rolled out in more competitive lobbies first. I'm not quite sure what that means. That means it's an option that can be voted on, or they're just going to order by best multiplayer lap. And by multiplayer lap, do they mean rivals? So if people are out there lapping rivals and they go to multiplayer, they're just going to get thrown in the back because they've laid down a bunch of times. I don't know if I would like that. Or are they talking about best lap they've done in a previous multiplayer race? So I'm not sure, so I'm not quite sure. It'd be nice to get a little bit more clarification on that because that can be interesting. Here's a big one here. Some multiplayer hoppers will now allow the starting grid to roll off by row in order to help with the congestion in the first and second quarter. So a rolling start. That's an interesting concept to see how that would work. That would be nice. It would at least help keep people in line through a corner or two, and help to get people spread out on a straightaway before you hit the next corner. Be interesting to see how much it helps and which hoppers that's in. I haven't went and looked to see, which ones are there and which ones aren't. So, and there is a bunch of miscellaneous things, some prizes on spins, fix an issue with the mini map and the player location and tag, fix an issue in free play. We're changing assists in a pre-menu, would reset the drivetrain difficulty. Change the total time my drivetrain. I'm trying to see if there's anything. Fix an issue where telemetry shows no data when viewing a replay directly after a race is finished. Fix an issue where drift scores were not reported correctly. This is probably big for some people, resulting in different leaderboards for different players. That's interesting. Fix an issue where headlights would turn off and then on again after rewinding a race. Fix an issue where controller dead zones were resetting after completing a race. I never had this problem, but I did hear of people having this, so that is a good fix there. And fix an issue with control mapping when a player has both a controller and a wheel connected to the Xbox when starting Forza 6. And on top of that, we do get one free car. Now, there's also a car pack, and I'll cover that in a different video that was released, the Logitech car pack. But everybody gets a free car, and it is the 2015 Infiniti Q60. So this is a successor to the Infiniti G37. So being an interesting car, probably not going to be one of those go tear it up in the rivals and the leaderboards, but it is a cool looking car. So we do get one free car, which is always nice. So get out there and download your free car. So that is everything for the content update. I will also have a video up covering the car pack and a couple of maybe one or two tunes from that car pack, because there's some interesting cars in there. So anyways, I'm gonna end it with that. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.